So this week, I got my very first puppy. If you follow me on YouTube, you would have seen in my latest video that I introduced her to all of you. And I also spoke about her over on my Instagram page as well. But she is adorable. She is a 10-week-old border collie puppy. And she is super intelligent to the point where I am learning a lot of life lessons just from her actions and the way she is behaving, which doesn't come as a surprise to me because I am naturally curious and I'm always looking for the learnings in every situation. But it is really interesting because something that I observed her do yesterday tied in really beautifully with something that I have just read this morning in the book that I'm currently reading, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Beep by Mark Manson. So, what I read this morning was this: fault is past tense, responsibility is present tense. So, in other words, fault relates to choices that have already been made, and responsibility relates to choices that are currently being made. And those choices can relate to things such as how situations are perceived, how people react to situations, and also how people value things as well. And it's really interesting because what my 10-week-old border collie puppy did yesterday, her name is Tina, by the way, was something that plays very nicely into this because she likes to bite things. This is very much a puppy behavior, but also typical of her breed as well. But essentially, she has been given lots of those cotton rope puppy toys that you've probably seen. But yesterday, I introduced her to her first plush toy. Now, it was really interesting to see how she was with it because she's super intelligent and she kept chewing at it, but she wasn't just randomly chewing. She was very persistent at chewing in the same place and the same part of the toy. Didn't matter how many times we threw the toy around the room or we tried to move the toy into a different position. She always knew that if she continued in the same part of the toy, she would probably make an impact and maybe open the toy or do something similar. Now, she wasn't successful because, of course, this is a puppy toy, it's super durable. But it was very, very interesting to watch and observe. And that kind of level of persistence definitely, for me, correlated with what I read today in the book. Because in life, too many people, as I've spoken about in many previous episodes, place the blame for what they don't have in their lives at the feet of other people. They do not take the responsibility and try to do something different for themselves. And essentially, when you do take responsibility for yourself, it requires a whole heap of persistence in order to really make significant change in your life. And that is the level of persistence that I observed my puppy do yesterday, trying to tear apart this plush toy. Now, it also reminds me pretty much of how people in life often start things with the best of intentions. They're full of enthusiasm and gumption and they're ready to make a success of themselves. But they often give up or fall off the wagon when they realize just how much work is actually involved, or they don't see the immediate results for the work that they have put in. The perfect example that I give of this is of starting a YouTube channel. Now, YouTube is by far one of the most rewarding platforms to be on because it takes so much work to really see success on the platform. It's not like Instagram or, TikTok, where in a way it's a bit more passive because people can just randomly like your post, or, you tend to get a lot more fake followers on those platforms, although I know that they're trying to take steps to reduce them. On YouTube, it's more difficult to cheat the system. They are definitely a lot better at weeding out fake subscribers and trying to kind of clear the platform of any bots. But when it comes to growing a community on YouTube and actually having active, engaged followers and subscribers, That takes work. It takes time. It takes trust. For people to actually sit and watch a video of yours is a totally different experience to just liking a random photo on a platform. And so it is a lot more rewarding when you do gain success on YouTube because you understand the amount of work that goes into it, but it requires persistence. And this is why a lot of people start YouTube like, yes, I'm going to make all of this money. I'm going to have all of these followers. But what they don't really understand is that it's also going to take a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to get to that point. It's going to take a lot of commitment, dedication, and persistence to arrive at the point where you actually truly make an impact. And I think it's a really interesting philosophy to adopt in life because if you want to make a change in your life, if you want to start taking responsibility for your life and the choices that you're making, you're going to have to be persistent because there are so many opportunities in life to place the blame at the feet of other people, to be passive, to say, well, it's because of this that I don't have this. Like, it's not easy to take responsibility in life. I'm going to be honest, because I feel like in a way, sometimes we are almost encouraged in society to kind of put the blame somewhere else and not to really stand up and face the fact that maybe it is our responsibility to do something differently. And so, this is what I wanted to talk about in today's episode, just the kind of lessons that I'm observing from my puppy, from the book that I'm reading, and how they really combine together so well. I think, persistence is everything. When you have a passion, when you want to do something, when you want to make a change, you've got to keep at it. It's like consistency and persistency are like together. They are like, you've got to be strong, you've got to not give up, but you've also got to be consistent and, do the thing that you want to do on a very regular basis. So, yeah, I guess this is the lesson I wanted to share with you in this week's episode. Of course, I had to tie it back to my puppy because she's such a recent addition to our home. But I would say if there is something that you really want to achieve in your life, start taking responsibility for the way that you are viewing that particular aspect of your life, for the actions that you are taking, and for the way that you are reacting to the things that life throws at you as well. Because life is a hell of a ride. And essentially, if you allow the little knocks and twists and turns that naturally occur along the way to distract you and detract you and take you on a different path, then your experience is going to be somewhat different than if you can essentially accept life for what it is and accept the fact that you always have a choice as to how you respond and react to things and what you can make of them to essentially help you to achieve what it is that you want to do. So, yes, be persistent. This is the message from today's episode. I'll see you in the next episode.